Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Luna Spencer lay lifeless in a secluded suite on the third floor of a clandestine medical facility hidden into the hills above Los Angeles, away from the flashing cameras that often followed the Forrester and Logan families' every breath. The room was silent except for the steady beep of the monitor tracking her heartbeat and the soft hiss of the ventilator, which had become her lungs for the past 9 days. White curtains filtered the afternoon light into something gentle, almost apologetic, as if the sun itself regretted what it had to witness. No one outside of an incredibly small circle realized she was present. Not the tabloids, not the gossip blogs, not even most of her own family. The official tale, carefully planted by Bill Spencer's crisis team, was that Luna had taken a sudden leave to focus on her mental health, following the stress of learning the truth about her mother's misdeeds. It seemed plausible that no one pushed too hard. In Los Angeles, disappearances were sometimes more pleasant than explanations. But inside this sealed-off wing, the truth was cruel and unspoken. Steffi Forrester stood at the foot of the bed, arms folded so tightly that her knuckles had turned white. She hadn't left the building for 4 days. Ridge had tried to drag her home. Finn had tried reason, and even Thomas, coming at night, had begged her to sleep. Steffi refused. She kept repeating the moment everything went wrong, trying to pinpoint the exact second she could have prevented it. It had happened so quickly. Luna had shown up at the Cliff house unannounced, shaking, tears streaking the perfect makeup she still bothered to apply even when her world was collapsing. She'd clutched an envelope in her trembling hands, DNA results, a note in Poppy's handwriting, a flash drive. She had urged Steffi to assist her establish that Bill was not her father after all, that Tom Starr had been duped, and that everything Poppy admitted to in detention was a lie. Steffi had been wary. After months of Luna's increasingly erratic behavior, the forged letters, the stolen jewelry planted in Poppy's apartment, the whispered accusations that had torn through 2 families, trust was a currency Luna had spent down to nothing. But the girl standing in Steffi's living room that night appeared broken in a way that felt authentic. Her voice trembled as she replied, "If I'm not a Spencer or a Nozawa, then who am I? Please, Steffi. You're the only one who ever tried to see me." Against every instinct screaming at her, Steffi had agreed to look at the evidence. Just look. They'd sat on the terrace overlooking the ocean, the same terrace where Luna had once drugged Steffi's tea with her mother's special mints. Luna claimed she had no idea what Poppy was doing back then and was horrified when she discovered it. Steffi had hoped to believe her. Maybe that was the mistake. When Luna opened the envelope, the first thing she saw was an old Polaroid snapshot of Poppy and Tom Starr laughing backstage at a concert, with Poppy clearly pregnant. On the back, in faded ink, for Luna Bean, "The night we created you." Luna had started sobbing, the type that comes from somewhere deeper than lungs. Steffi reached out instinctively, intending only to steady her. Luna then took the second item from the envelope, a little glass vial filled with transparent liquid. "I can't do this anymore," Luna said quietly. "I can't be the lie that everyone thinks I am." Steffi attacked, but Luna was faster. She uncapped the vial and drank it all at once, like if she were thirsty for poison. By the time Steffi wrested the empty container away and yelled for Finn, Luna was already crumpling to the terrace stones, eyes rolling back, body seizing. The vial lacked a label, but the hospital lab identified the substance within hours, a synthetic paralytic distilled from the same plant Poppy once claimed could relax anyone into honesty. Enough to stop a heart if the dose was even slightly incorrect. Luna had accurately measured it for coma, not death. A final, theatrical demonstration of authority. It was 9 days ago. Finn entered the room with a new chart, his face carved with the exhaustion that came from fighting a battle that the patient had chosen to lose. He softly touched Steffi's shoulder. "Still no change," he replied quietly. "The most recent EEG is identical to yesterday. Slow waves with poor responsiveness. She's stable, but there's no sign she's trying to come back," Steffi said, her mouth tightening. "She's hiding." Finn didn't protest. He had ceased arguing days ago. Instead, he went to Luna's bedside and began the ritual checks, pupils, reflexes, gentle pressure on fingernails to detect the faintest grimace. Luna's body replied in the same way that a body does after the owner has left the premises, technically alive but spiritually unreachable. At the door, Bill Spencer stood out like a storm cloud in a bespoke suit. He hadn't shaved in days, and the silver on his temples appeared sharper against the stubble. He bore the consequences of every terrible action that had led his potential daughter to this bed. "Any changes?" he inquired, although he already knew the answer. Finn shakes his head. Bill crossed the room in 3 strides, taking the chair that had become his. He cradled her fingers in his, trying not to jostle the 4. "Hey, kid," he said quietly, the term seeming disgusting now. "You have made your point. You won. Come back and yell at me. Hate me aloud. Just open your eyes." Luna's chest rose and sank mechanically. Nothing else moved. Lee Finnegan appeared next, summoned by Finn but with a shiver of judgment that she could never quite shake. She studied the chart in quiet, lips pressed thin. "Her potassium is trending up again," she finally said. "We may need to adjust the drip," Steffi said, her voice as sharp as glass. "She did that to herself, Lee. Let's not pretend we're fighting a secret ailment." Lee addressed her stare without flinching. "She is still my niece. And she's still a patient. She's a walking wound who decided to lie down and bleed on all of us," Steffi exclaimed. "She forged paternity tests, framed her own mother, drugged me twice, and now this performance." She was gesturing toward the mattress. Bill's head snapped up. "I'm done feeling guilty for not trusting her." "Steffi, no." Steffi surged forward, her eyes burning. "You want to martyr yourself because you slept with a con artist 20-something years ago? Fine. But do not expect the rest of us to canonize her daughter." Luna understood exactly what she was doing when she swallowed the vial. She wanted us all here, helpless and dancing around her bedside as if she were the tragic center of the universe. "So, congratulations, Luna. You got the attention you've always wanted." The monitor beeped constantly and indifferently. Finn moved between them. "This isn't helping her." "Nothing helps her," Steffi replied, her voice cracking for the first time. "That's the whole point." She turned and fled the room before anyone noticed her tears. In the corridor, she almost collided with Ridge, who had been pacing since dawn. He grabbed her by the shoulders. "Talk to me," he murmured softly. Steffi laughed with a broken sound. "She won. That is what I cannot stand. She eventually won. We're all destroyed, and she gets to sleep through the consequences." Ridge hugged her. Over her head, his gaze fell on the observation glass, where Bill still grasped Luna's hand like a man clutching the final piece of a shipwreck. Lee finished her changes within the room and moved out, providing Bill with unexpected seclusion. He did not notice. When Luna awoke, he was telling her about the yacht he planned to buy her, something modest, just for the 2 of them, where no one could lie about paternity, plant evidence, or weaponize mints. His voice never went above a whisper. He had already shed all the loud tears. What remained was the dry sort that came from a well that had been scraped clean. Hours have passed. Shifts modified. A new nurse checked lines and recorded vital signs. The light moved west, painting the room gold, and then gray. At 9:17 p.m., the monitor's rhythm faltered, just once, a skip beat. Bill froze. Finn, who was analyzing scans in the adjoining office, hurried when he saw the warning on his iPad. The trace had settled back down by the time he got to bed. False alarm. Or perhaps not. Finn examined Luna's face. For the first time in 9 days, there was something, a flicker beneath the eyelids, a tightening of fingers around Bill's. "Luna?" Bill's voice cracked like a teenager's. "Baby, squeeze my hand if you can hear me." Nothing is happening. Then there was almost imperceptible pressure on his palm. Finn's heart stuttered. "Luna, you are safe. You are in the hospital. You've been very sick, but we're right here." Another careful pressure. Bill uttered a sound that was half sob, half prayer. He leaned across the bed, his forehead touching hers. "That's all, kid.
Fight.
Come back and fight me, fight everyone. Just come back. The eyes twitched. A tear slid from the corner of Luna's eye and made its way slowly into her hair. Steffi stood in the corridor, arms wrapped around herself, watching through the glass. She convinced herself that the tightness in her chest was due to rage. She told herself several things. But when Luna's fingers moved again, reaching, seeking, Steffi found herself stepping forward and pulling the door open without intending to. Bill looked up, his eyes burning. Steffi said nothing but, "She's waking up." She moved to the other side of the bed and took Luna's other hand, which no one had held in 9 days. Luna's lips parted. The ventilator hissed. Then, scarcely audible, a single syllable came out. "Sorry." The room became very still. Steffi's hold tightened, but she didn't know whether it was to comfort or restrain. Outside the window, Los Angeles sparkled as if nothing had occurred, as if a girl hadn't attempted to erase herself or families hadn't been shattered and left suffering. Inside, machinery kept a constant time, counting down the seconds until whatever happened next. Luna opened her eyes completely for the first time in almost a week. They were the same vibrant blue they had always been, yet something behind them had changed, maybe shattered, or finally seen properly. She gazed from Bill to Steffi and back again, her tears silently streaming. "I didn't want to die," she muttered, her voice rough from disuse. "I just didn't know how to live with who I am," Bill said, making a broken sound and pressing his lips against her forehead. Steffi said nothing for a long time. Then, quietly, "You don't get to make that decision for the rest of us. Not anymore." Luna closed her eyes, but her fingers remained wrapped around Steffi's, as if scared to let go. During the subsequent stillness, the monitor beeped, steady, tenacious, alive. The story was not over. It had merely flipped a page that no one had realized was there. And somewhere in the city, Poppy Nozawa waited in a holding cell, unconscious that her daughter had just drawn the first breath of whatever came after disaster. Luna's situation has left those around her in amazement, anxiety, and quiet despair. Nobody anticipated her lively presence to be replaced so abruptly by the unsettling stillness of a hospital bed. Yet here she is, trapped between consciousness and oblivion, in a coma in a location only a few people know about. The decision to keep her treatment confidential was taken quickly and with little discussion. Those closest to her believed that concealment was the only way to protect her, not only from the media frenzy that was sure to ensue, but also from anyone who could have played a role in the events that led to her downfall. Luna's sterilized chamber is a great cry from the world she used to know, far from the Forrester showroom lights, the frenetic buzz of fashion deadlines, and the convoluted emotional dynamics that had been part of her daily existence. Machines hum softly as they monitor her vital signs, providing a rhythmic soundtrack to the anxiety that hangs in the air. A private medical team was rushed in, including physicians who appreciate the severity of her condition. Despite their expertise and calm reassurance, the truth remains. Luna's destiny is unknown. Her loved ones move in and out of the place, and no one outside the inner circle knows where she is. To keep her safe, her location has been categorized as strictly need to know. Some visits are filled with hope and whispered encouragements, while others are heavy with shame, fear, and agonizing regrets. The emotional landscape that surrounds Luna is as complex as the relationships she's formed and the truths she discovered before everything went out of hand. RJ has taken the news the hardest. He seldom leaves the exclusive institution, scarcely sleeping and pacing the halls in a state of anxiety and frustration. He talks to Luna even though she is unable to answer, repeating small memories, private jokes, moments that used to make her giggle, promises he hopes she'll hear again someday. He continues telling himself that she can hear him, that something inside her is pushing its way back to the surface, clinging to his voice like a lifeline. Every time he holds her hand, he silently begs her to return. She transformed him in ways he never expected. Now he thinks he'll lose her before he can show her how much he cares. Finn, trapped between his medical instincts and personal worry, checks in on her all the time, despite the fact that he is not the physician assigned to her case. He respects the specialists, yet he can't help but want to oversee everything. He understands what it's like to see someone you care about on the verge of death, and he refuses to let history repeat itself, not without a fight. The weight of guilt is heavy on his shoulders, especially because certain inexplicable details surrounding Luna's fall eat at him. He senses that the truth has not yet fully surfaced, and he will not rest until it does. Luna's mother, Poppy, is a force of pain and determination. She blames herself, even though no one has indicated that she should. Each time she hears the monitor's steady beeping, she recalls the numerous warnings she ignored, the secrets she kept, and the decisions that may have indirectly led to this point. She sits at her daughter's bedside for hours, combing Luna's hair and mumbling apologies, mixed with optimism. Poppy has never been stationary for long. She is constantly moving, searching, and adjusting. But now she is locked in place, unwilling to leave her daughter's side for fear of Luna drifting away while she is gone. The Forresters, too, are disturbed. Some people are truly heartbroken, while others see the situation through the prism of the issues that Luna's departure could cause. The fashion industry does not pause for personal grief, but even those who pride themselves on emotional distance feel the impact of what has occurred. A smart young woman, full of promise and potential, has been silenced at a critical juncture in her life. Ridge and Brooke have offered their support, but they recognize the importance of seclusion. They, too, have experienced heartache and can empathize with the circumstance. Then there's Lee, who fights her own internal conflict. Her relationship with Poppy is laden with unsolved issues, and her feelings for Luna have always been difficult. However, seeing Luna like this, powerless and suspended in a delicate state, stirs something raw inside her. Lee may appear tough and uncompromising at times, but she is not heartless. She hopes Luna recovers, both for RJ's sake and because no one deserves such a harsh fate. Nonetheless, she cannot escape the notion that there is more to the story than what has been told, and she resolves to find out the truth. Rumors are starting to spread throughout Los Angeles, but none of them are accurate. Some assume that Luna fled town to avoid emotional upheaval. Others speculate that she may have accepted a secret job offer or that she is simply taking time off. Nobody outside the close group could comprehend the gravity of her situation. The family has managed to keep the specifics a secret, but it is becoming increasingly difficult. People will eventually discover the cracks. Someone will see something, overhear something, or begin asking questions that cannot be ignored. Back at the treatment center, stress rises as the medical team examines Luna's brain activity. Her vitals fluctuate at times, causing her loved ones to panic. Each abnormality causes a rush of medical personnel into the room, followed by anxious waiting that seems to last forever. For those observing, optimism and sorrow coexist in an endless circle. Every minor development inspires cautious optimism, yet every setback seems like a stab to the heart. RJ frequently finds himself repeating the last day he spent with her, looking for any signs he should have noticed, any small hint that she wasn't feeling well or that something was wrong. He blames himself, despite the fact that the situation was beyond his control. Finn continuously tries to soothe him, but guilt ignores rationality. RJ knows he should have kept her safe, and the weight of that idea threatens to crush him. He holds out hope that she may awaken and break the awful stillness that now exists between them. Meanwhile, Poppy wrestles with memories she buried long ago, fear-driven decisions, acts of love disguised as deception, and a convoluted past that has followed her into the present. She worries how much of the past has returned to haunt them. She wonders if Luna will ever discover the truth she worked so hard to conceal. Most of all, she worries if she will ever have the opportunity to set things right. Every day, she murmurs memories from Luna's youth, hoping that some part of her daughter hears them and finds comfort in the similarity. As the days pass, little changes begin to appear. Small variations in Luna's reflexes, weak motions that could be involuntary or indicative of something more promising. The medical staff meticulously notes everything, refusing to accept premature interpretations. However, the atmosphere in the room changes slightly. Hope, however tenuous, began to seep back into the borders of gloom, which had settled like fog. RJ observes the changes first. He is convinced that Luna can detect when he is near. He believes he sees her fingers quiver when he holds her hand and her breathing change when he speaks to her. Finn is cautious but not dismissive, and he closely checks the data. He has seen people return from such conditions in the past and refuses to rule it out. But he also understands that healing, if it occurs at all, can be a lengthy and tough process. Outside, the world goes on as usual, unaware of the secret conflict that is taking place. Forrester Creations continues with meetings, designs, and deadlines. Coworkers assume Luna is on personal leave, ignorant of the tragedy unfolding behind closed doors. Life's rhythms do not stop for tragedy, no matter how much those impacted wish they did. However, for those who know the truth, time appears distorted, hurriedly moving forward while seemingly hanging on indefinitely. What caused Luna's breakdown remains a mystery to those closest to her. Was there stress? A medical ailment no one was aware of? Or was it linked to more sinister forces, rivalries, jealousies, or covert manipulations? The lack of answers complicates everything. Finn feels there is a missing piece, either ignored or concealed. Lee suspects the same thing, though her suspicions frequently go against Poppy. The tension between them simmers gently, unable to boil over while Luna's life is on the line. Nonetheless, everyone's aim remains the same, getting Luna back. They cling to the hope that she is capable of fighting her way out of the darkness. They see her returning to the colorful world she has built out for herself, smiling, creating, and loving again. They picture celebrating her recovery, grateful for a miracle that is currently just out of reach. And until her eyes open, or until they are forced to confront a different, more terrible truth, her loved ones will continue to wait, breathe, hope, and believe that Luna will return to them.